Nathan.
Oh, hey, Brendan. Hey, how's it going? You all set to record this Twilight? Should be fun. Okay, no. See, Brendan, you gotta do more than just look at me. I get you're doing the Mariah thing where she does visual jokes for the audio only podcast. That's cool. But seriously, I think we really need to get to this because, man, this was a chore for me, I swear. I mean, I'm sure you got a few good quips, right? You see, now there you go with those furtive glances again, Brendan. It's not what we need to do, or we need to actually you need to get back and forth. You just need to say something. Just say a joke, Brendan. Come on. Okay, Brendan, you've got to. It's an audio. Look. If this is about the whole Pumpkinhead thing, I'm sorry. Okay, it was a joke. All right, you need to say we need to talk about this podcast. It's this movie. I beseech you, Brendan. Please, just make a quip.
I can't.
Did you just fucking fall asleep?
You know when I pick a movie, that's when I'm under pressure now. The question always comes back to me, what were they thinking now? Whoa, what were they thinking? What were they thinking?
Welcome everyone to
Stop that
podcast.
I'll get the cattle.
I actually find this offensive.
Whoa, who's that? This is a podcast you are listening to right now. It is a podcast about bad to questionable movies, and I'm sure one of us will argue hard against that very concept. But this is what were they thinking? I am Brendan, and joining me, of course, is the Edward to my Bella. It's go ahead and introduce yourself.
That's why Hall of Famers think we're married. You say things like, you could have said Jacob. You easily could have said Jacob.
Yeah,
I'm Nathan, by the way.
But I didn't want to whitewash your role on the podcast. Yes, Nathan. We are talking about, of course, we are finally doing it. We are finally talking about the 2008 vampire blockbuster. Not like vampires that worked at Blockbuster, as in the bloodsuckers that would try to get your rental fees, your late
and
fees.
your rewind fees, right?
Yeah. Give me 20 minutes on them.
Meanwhile, no one's been inside of a Blockbuster in over a decade.
Wait, what? What happened?
Oh, just a little thing.
Okay, cool.
Called Netflix.
Joining us, returning to the show, somehow she agreed to come back after we talked about cats, but she's back. Ladies and gentlemen.
The very next day, we thought she was a goner,
but
the guest came back. She just couldn't stay away.
She couldn't, and her name, of course, is Amanda the Jedi. Welcome!
Yeah, thanks for having me. The only reason why I agreed to do this is because it's Twilight. So,
wow.
And I'm here not because I think it's a bad movie, but because I think it's just enjoyable. It's not great, but it's great, It's one of those.
All right, so would you put this on par with like a Maximum Overdrive or more of The Room?
I think it's its own thing. Like Twilight is in its renaissance right now. It is just its own thing of teen lore. Yeah.
We are starting with some hot.
Oh, there is no denying that Twilight is in its renaissance right now.
Renaissance.
No
okay.
denying.
All right. Gotcha.
You can't. It is. It is more popular now than it's been probably since 2008, honestly.
I am so excited to talk about this movie.
Do you know how much money I make from Twilight right now in 2021? It's a lot, okay? It's a lot.
Listen, we're not trying to hurt your Twilight money. We're just here to talk about a questionable. Can we at least say questionable?
Very questionable.
I think we can safely call it. Some of the choices questionable.
For sure.
Well, I mean, in also to be fair,
Well,
it's questionable source material too. I mean, really, when you get right down to it.
okay, now Amanda's got full guard up.
Well, because now it's like now it's going to get into a conversation of like nuance. There's a nuanced conversation around Twilight and things that it's the same shit when like little boys are like, but Twilight, like fucking Transformers is awesome because I love Transformers. There's nuance. There's nuance to the conversations, even though
I will never say that.
Is dog shit.
What that you love Transformers?
If I was a little kid, yes, I would say that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I would have loved Transformers. Now, I would never, ever say, you know what? Them Michael Bay movies, they're something, I tell you, in a good way.
There's different levels.
I'll tell you, those Michael Bay Transformers movies really ruined the sanctity of the cartoon series.
Oh, yeah, right?
Such a well put together program. Okay.
Look, we could talk about this for an hour alone, not talking about the
Transformers. Yes, for sure.
No, the nuance of what makes people like certain things and its popularity, fandoms.
Yeah, you don't. I'm a Gamera fan and a World of Godzilla fan, so you don't really have too much to explain to me.
Oh, there you go.
Explain your fandom.
And let's just say right off the bat, regardless of how you feel about this movie, the reaction to this movie from the people that didn't like it was over the top, to put it lightly, I think.
Yeah.
I think
because it turned to
it
was the memes are really good now. At the time, it was really just kind of like people hadn't watched it, people didn't care. It was just like, oh, this is like a bunch of stuff that like teen girls are really into. Must suck. Must be terrible. It doesn't matter that they're driving box office views and whatever you can get teen girls to like is
Who was also super into it other than teen and preteen girls? Soccer moms.
Yeah, soccer moms loved it. And you know what? And then they got their own series, 50 Shades of Grey.
Coming soon.
Awful.
Double meaning. I love it. Yeah, because again, this movie, relatively small budget. I'm assuming the sequels have a much bigger budget because this one cost $37 million, and in North America, or at least in the U.S. alone, $407 million.
Yep.
And that's probably the lowest grossing one, I'm guessing.
Well, I would say that's pretty even bet considering the whole thing plays out as one giant story, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there are five.
There's five of them, yeah.
So, Twilight. Amanda,
yeah.
You have a history with this, kind of, I guess.
I do. I'm part of the Renaissance. I was part of that ride.
So does that mean you have a bunch of paintings? Is that kind of Renaissance?
No, it's just like at some point people grew up and were like, it's okay that we can make fun of this because there are so many aspects of this that are fucking ridiculous, but we can also just like it at the same time. So there's this like very interesting dynamic of like ironically liking something and unironically liking aspects of it at the exact same time that is building into this like Renaissance where there are entire meme pages for Twilight where like the Twilight like verified Twitter account is getting like shit tons of retweets and stuff because people are just into it. They're like, you guys made fun of us for liking this seriously 10 years ago. So now we're going to say, fuck you. We're bringing it back. And then there was like the whole side aspect of like, she finally released the book from Edward's perspective, which is fucking ridiculous. There's so much ridiculous stuff in the history of Twilight, but that's not even the worst one. The worst one is gender bent Twilight. That's the worst thing.
Yep.
You remember when we got Jason on for Wing Commander? I feel like we're going to be in that type of situation this episode.
Yeah.
Listen.
He asked an expert. I have like entrenched myself in this because I don't know. It's like a very interesting spectacle. And then like another one of those ones, she's in terms of an author, she's probably like I'm assuming most of her beliefs are like really terrible. She's just usually smart enough to shut up about them because she's a Mormon. She's a Mormon. So like, she probably doesn't like gay people very much. There's probably all sorts of things that she, like she went to like the Brigham Young University level Mormon. So
what you're saying is she's
got. How do you write about vampires and not include gay people?
No, she did because somebody asked if the wolves could imprint on other like men, and she basically said no, that would be stupid and wouldn't make sense. So it was like really, it was the way she implied it.
In this movie about vampires and werewolves and sparkles, that just wouldn't make sense. A gay person, what?
like to clarify my incredulity earlier about not including gay people when you're writing vampires. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way.
No.
In fact, some of the best gay positive stuff I've ever seen on TV has been in regards to like stuff like True Blood. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna clear that.
Oh no, I got where you were coming from. Yeah.
Plot. Basic plot of this movie is Bella. She's a girl. She goes to high school. She's very sad. She's very sad a lot of the time. And
I'm not sure why.
Teenagers are sad, okay?
She's got some issues with her parental units. And she goes to this high school. She falls for a guy named Edward. He's very mysterious. And she finds out that, I don't know, guys, about 90 minutes into this movie, it's confirmed that he's a vampire. And other vampires come after her, and hilarity ensues.
Most definitely.
That's pretty much the plot.
Yep. What were they thinking? See you next week, folks.
Oh, all right. Well, Amanda, it's just you and me now, I guess.
What they were thinking was, wow, we're going to make so much fucking money.
Oh, well, I can't deny that.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm pretty sure they didn't think they were going to make money, which is why the first one had such a low budget. And then they were like, oh, shit, this is a thing.
Somebody make me a CGI baby for the sequel.
That was super realistic and cool.
Yeah, no, the CGI baby was the backup plan after the first plan backfired.
Oh, well.
The doll was plan one.
Jesus.
Chuck Esme.
Break the doll or something?
No, it was so horrendously unrealistic and it scared everyone. But there's some test footage around of this fucking 60-pound horrific child doll.
How do you not include that in a book about vampires and werewolves? There's got to be some horror. Come on.
I'm sorry, it turns into a body horror. If you didn't watch part one of the last.
I've seen this one.
Okay, well, the ending of part one, Breaking Dawn, it turns into a fucking body horror, like straight up.
Yes, because I hear she gives birth. I remember the girls at work talking about it at the time.
I just picture a fucking circle around the water fountain. You hear about that? You see that Bella picture? She gave birth in this one. I'm also assuming that you work with all 20s gangsters.
Yeah. For some reason, all the soccer moms in my department talk like slick 20s gangsters.
Yeah, so you see that Twilight?
Here's a pocket full of mayonnaise, you see?
What are you, Team Edward or Team Jacob, eh? So we start off...
Look, if you tell me you're Team Edward, I'll put the screws to you see? Anyway, sorry.
We start off in the tiny town of Forks. What state is this in, again?
Washington.
Okay, Forks,
and mostly
Washington.
denial.
Forks, Washington.
A tiny town of a few thousand people. Bella decides to stay with her dad, who's Charlie, played by Billy Burke, who I think gives the best performance in the movie.
For sure.
I thought he was really good, honestly.
Oh, he's
Not
great.
since Drive Angry have I been so engrossed by one of his performances.
Yeah, he knew it. He was like, I'm here. This is a thing that's happening right now. I'm dejected dad in the movie, so I get to just be dejected in real life.
So she's staying with him while her mother and minor league baseball player stepdad is just going on the road, I guess.
Yep.
I want to see that movie. I'm not lying.
Well, Amanda, you know about all the books, including the Edward POV. Is there a book where we follow them?
No. Phil is like rarely ever. Actually, I am told that Phil is actually one of the side characters in Moneyball. So if you watch Moneyball, that's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie.
Oh, okay.
You had me going.
I thought Moneyball was based on actual events.
It is.
Yeah, just like Twilight.
Exactly.
Just like Twilight. Yeah, fuck off, Brendan.
Yeah. So Bella and her dad seem to have a very stilted relationship. He's a bit awkward. He doesn't quite know how to talk to her. You know, sales lady picked out the bed stuff. You're like purple, right? That kind of thing.
That's typical, dad type stuff that happened in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah,
I found that believable.
They have some good. They have some good chemistry, and I will state this too right off the bat. The other big thing that people could not stop talking about when Twilight came out is that Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson are like the worst actors in the world, you guys. And it's like, no, they're fine.
I'm not going
They're
that
not.
far.
They literally they acted exactly how they were told to act, how they're written in the books, and what was required of them.
The director said, "Be sad and action," and that's what they did.
And say this stilted, unnatural dialogue as sadly as possible.
Yeah, he almost got fired for trying to play it more creepy.
Pattinson?
Yeah, Pattinson.
Okay.
There's like footage of him. He's come around on Twilight now, but he used to shit on them unrelentingly.
I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of funny to see those interviews
yeah.
where he was just like, "Fuck that." Anyway, what else do you want to ask?
He's like, I'm basically a sociopath, and she goes along with it. It's fucking crazy. I don't know what's wrong with Stephenie Meyer.
So,
she had this dream of the meadow, and I think she thinks she's Bella.
we meet Charlie's friend, Billy Black, who's played by a real Native American. His son, Jacob, is not played by a real Native American.
Not 100%.
They had to do some kind of retcon look and be like, if you go back X number of generations, there's this much somewhere in his family bloodline.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the required 1/16th, but
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's very distant, but either way, it's maybe not as offensive as the representation in the Lone Ranger Disney movie.
–
Absolutely not.
yes, right.
But yeah, so Jacob is there.
Or for vampires in this movie. I'm also going to put that out there. Hashtag glitter wash. That's all I'm saying. Glitter face. That's what he was wearing.
Oh wow.
Anyhow, God, I'm just getting riled.
Are you
up
trying
here.
to cancel everyone?
Just hopefully Twilight. Anyhow,
I can feel the tension in the air. Amanda's literally sharpening her knife right now.
I am I'm getting the claws ready. I'm like, whew.
So Charlie is he's got his friend Billy Black there. Jacob, again, Taylor Lautner, just kind of creepily stares at Bella for most of the time and says, "Hey, remember when we used to make mud pies when we were kids? Gross."
also in front of the truck that her dad just gave her. I don't know why this girl is sad.
Oh,
She was actually really excited when she gets the truck, though.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God, this is awesome.
That was... What? Kristen
Oh
Stewart
my God,
here?
Mr. Carter.
I love her.
I know, but it sounds like Travolta in the 70s doing Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, you know, it does. I'm sick.
Yes,
Oh my
by
God,
the way.
my soul burns for
I'm on
you.
antibiotics.
Yeah. Plug it. Plug the drug you're using.
Doxycycline.
Get your doxycycline, folks.
Yeah.
Ask for
Now
it
remember,
by name.
antibiotics can counteract birth control, kids.
It's true.
Little PSA from What Were They Thinking?
Oh, I don't know what's going on anymore. So anyway,
Dude, let's not talk about this movie.
Jacob doesn't break eye contact either. They talk about going to school. He says, I go to school on the reservation, again reminding us that he's playing Native American. Bella goes to school. Funny, hilarious moment here, I thought anyway, because Bella goes to school in her truck, and this guy, sarcastically says, "Nice ride." And then you hear someone else say, "Genuinely, good one, man." Was
The
it?
funny thing is, though,
love it.
that whole thing sets it up like there's going to be this weird tension between her and everybody else at school, and that is immediately not the case.
Yeah,
We get this
everyone's
one
just
guy-
so horny for a new person.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, this one guy who's like, sweet ride. Maybe ironically, I'm not even totally sure,
Maybe
given
he
all
was-
the stuff that happens afterwards, because everybody at school is super nice to her.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those
Even
movies.
Anna Kendrick.
It's
It was
it's
a
almost,
neg.
It's
It was
almost
a
one of
neg.
those movies where you think this town has like a big secret. They're just
Yeah.
a little too welcoming. It's like
Yeah.
the town in Hot Fuzz or something. It's like, what's
Yeah.
really going on here? But yeah, Bella also meets Eric, who introduces himself as the shoulder to cry on. She says, "I'd rather suffer in silence," which is probably the most Bella line in this movie, I think, anyway.
It really is.
She has she's in gym class, and she has like a fake out meet cute moment with this guy named Mike Newton, who is the worst. And apparently, like, immediately he's like, I must have her. But Anna Kendrick is also in this movie, and she
Who is
wants him.
so much better than this.
Oh, she's great.
At the
in this
time,
movie,
she
by the way.
wasn't.
What?
No, she has always been better than this.
Yeah, but she hadn't done anything at this point.
She's Anna Kendrick. She's
Yeah, but this
always
is
been better
why
than
she's
this,
Anna
always.
Kendrick. This is why
Even if
she's
people
Anna
didn't
Kendrick.
know that she was better than this, she was better than this at the time.
So are most people in this movie.
Fair.
That's the thing. Like, nobody's like. I mean, you said most. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. There is one I can think of that maybe didn't go on to such great heights of fame, but but mostly everybody in this movie turned out pretty good. So yeah,
They're at least making a living.
yeah, exactly.
Some of them only off Twilight, but it's fine. They're doing great.
A lot of people don't seem to have boundaries at the school because one guy just walks up and runs up and kisses Bella on the cheek, and I'm like, okay, dude, come on. And then at lunchtime, the Cullens show up. What? And they all enter like slow motion. Everyone's swooning. Anna Kendrick is basically saying how they're all fucking each other.
Who are they? The Cullens. They're, Dr. and Mrs. Cullen's foster kids. They moved down here from Alaska, like, a few years ago. They kind of keep to themselves. Yeah, because they're all together. Like, together. The blonde girl, that's Rosalie, and the big dark-haired guy, Emmett, they're like a thing. I'm not even sure that's legal. Yes, they're not actually related. Yeah, but they live together. It's weird. And, okay, the little dark-haired girl is Alice. She's really weird. And, she's with Jasper, the blonde one who looks like he's in pain. Dr. Cullen's like this foster dad / matchmaker. Maybe he'll adopt me. Who's he? That's Edward Cullen. He's totally gorgeous, obviously. But apparently nobody here is good enough for him. Like I care,
But she's also giving all of their names, and I noted here, I'm not committing any of these to memory. Oh, okay, maybe Jasper.
I got them all.
Well, that's okay, Nathan, because we'll only hear their names 200 times.
Did you notice that Emmett walks in with a bag filled with hard-boiled eggs?
No, I didn't.
No.
Yeah, the big burly one walks in, and what he's carrying is a bag full of hard-boiled eggs, even though he's not going to eat them as a vampire. But apparently, somebody told me it's because the actor was going to eat them, so they were just like, sure, you're big and buff, you would eat a bag full of hard-boiled eggs for lunch.
Now, that doesn't make any sense because we do find out later that they don't eat actual food.
Yeah, but they have to make it look like they eat food at school. They have to have it like in front of them, and then they just throw it out. They have to throw it out, but yeah. So he doesn't eat it on camera. He just walks in the cafeteria with the bag.
Big bag of eggs.
If this were like a YouTube show and not just an audio podcast, this is where we put up the more you know thing from NBC.
Exactly. Just look up Emmett hard-boiled eggs, and you will be blessed.
What'd you bring today? Oh, just a bag of eggs.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 12. It's a lot of eggs.
And I was just like, oh, like a tote bag? No, just this plastic Walmart bag full of loose eggs.
Lunch with Yokozuna. Wrestling reference. Got it in.
Secured. But yeah, and then so she's talking about all the Cullens, but then more importantly, Edward Cullen walks in, and Anna Kendrick is all, nobody here is good enough for him. Like I care, right? Oh, whatever.
Oh my god.
And so everyone wants to fuck the pants off this guy. The first of many long furtive glances between.
Oh my god.
Bella and Edward.
Start a drinking game if you're watching this. Any furtive glance, you'll be going to the hospital with alcohol poisoning by the 45-minute mark.
I actually just read a bit of IMDb trivia here. If you take out all the furtive glances in the film, it would be 17 minutes long.
Sounds about right.
That's crazy. But yeah, they're looking at each other from across the room, and then she goes to class later, like, I don't know, science class or something, and he's like her lab partner.
Science.
And as she comes in the room, there's like this fan, and it's blowing her hair, but it also seems to be blowing him away.
Stank face.
Stank face. I was just like, oh, his like boner's blowing up. It just looks like he's like hiding his erection.
Well, at first when I saw this, I was like, oh, come on with this slow-mo garbage. This is like straight out of a Whitesnake video or something. But then when you find out later, the fan actually probably did rile him up quite a bit, because he does say later that he's never wanted to actually drink anyone's blood more than hers.
Yes, it pushed her scent into his nostrils.
Right into his olfactories.
And I will say that from his perspective in the book is hilarious. It is like 5 pages of him trying to like figure out how he could kill the entire class, then enjoy her before someone could scream, if he should do her first. If, it's like how he should just go to her house after school. Like, it's ridiculous.
Stephenie Meyer thinks she is J.R. Tolkien.
See, I feel like in that version of the movie, maybe we wouldn't be talking about it today.
Something like that.
Or maybe in a different way. So yeah, his stare is intense. He's like staring at her, and I'm just like,
you know what
this is.
Sorry, you know what it reminded me of? One of the more recent episodes of Saturday Night Live where Rami Malek hosted, but he played Pete Davidson, and Pete Davidson played him, and he kept like, "Stop staring at me, Rami Malek." I feel the energy that she should have been actually as a real person would have at this point, because he is just staring soullessly at her.
Yeah. And then
she's
later,
like, "Oh my God, do I stink? Like, ooey."
Yeah. And then later when he's like clearly trying to get out of the class and not sit by her, she's just like, he immediately rejected everything from me in every single way. I must have him. But again, teenagers.
I have 2 daughters. This movie actually kind of upsets me in regards to the relationship she's going after.
I bet you're Team Jacob, but it's because you haven't seen the rest of the movies where you will realize that Jacob is worse.
Don't worry, Nathan, you will.
Shut up, Brendan.
So yeah, that happens. they sit together and he's acting very, very strange. He also keeps like no showing for a while. He's just like not showing up to class, and Bella's like, "Who is this mystery man?" Meanwhile, we cut to some construction worker just getting totally attacked and ripped apart off screen. So we're like, "Oh, okay."
Well, yeah, PG-13
stuff is happening. Yeah, very PG-13, like almost PG. Honestly, because there's no blood, I don't think, in this movie.
No,
very
it's
little.
For one scene of sexual suggestion. I can't remember how Netflix words it, but it's so weird. But we'll get to there. But like
suggestion.
Yeah.
I like to think of that as a rating reason for a scene where someone just says sex.
Sex. Well, that's how YouTube judges it. So.
That's a suggestion of sex, not a sex suggestion. Sex suggestion is what gets you in trouble, and you guys can end up breaking up with your, high school girlfriend because she finds that you kind of dig her other friends.
Oh.
What? Twilight. Back to Twilight.
It's a scene of sensuality. PG-13 for some violence and a scene of sensuality.
Well, so
that could have been the bag of boiled eggs. We don't even know what some people take as sensuous.
Listen, whoever the head of the MPAA was at the time, that could have been a hand on a leg. That could have been boiled eggs, like Nathan said. That could have been. We don't know what Jack Valentine's into. Yeah, he's no showing. Meanwhile, Eric starts hitting on Bella, and then she sees that Edward's back, and she's like, "GTG, bro." And then Edward super awkwardly introduces himself to Bella, and they have a very intense conversation about the rain, where Bella says, and I quote, "I don't like cold, wet things."
I've always felt that was the scene of sensuality.
It's a good candidate.
That is Edward.
That joke, that line would have been considerably funnier if this had been a vampire lesbian relationship.
It almost happened, bro. Wait, how come? Wait, you said there was a gender bent version of this, right?
Everybody's gender bent.
Okay, so they just flipped everyone?
Edward becomes Edith, and then everybody changes except for Charlie and Bella's mom.
Wait, what's Bella's male name?
Beau, short for Beaufort.
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 Should be Buford. Buford.
No, it's not
Pusser.
Beaufort. Everybody says that, but no, it's Beaufort because Bella means beautiful and Beau means.
Nathan, how great would it have been if it was Buford Pusser and Edward?
People pronounce it Beaufort, but I was like, no, it's definitely Beaufort. It's Beaufort.
Joe Don Baker and Robert Pattinson, the romance that could light 1,000 screens. And put you
My
in
soul
jail.
burns for you.
So she doesn't like cold wet thing. I noted that this is at least better than that conversation about sand in Attack of the Clones.
Is it though?
I think
Yeah,
so.
it is.
I
It
don't
is.
like sand. It's coarse. Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
little bit better. It's not great, but it's a little bit better. Edward.
There's a really quick thing here that happens because this all happens at around lunchtime.
Yeah.
Where she's having supper with her dad or something. Anyways, there's a ketchup bottle in play, and it looked like Kristen Stewart didn't know how to use that kind of ketchup bottle because it looked like she was just shaking it over top, and it was a squeeze ketchup bottle.
Oh, was it a squeeze? I was pretty sure it was a glass one.
Nope, it was one of those.
Oh yeah. It is.
plastic
Yeah,
ones.
it's one of those red. Yeah, and she's doing it like it's one. Yeah, okay.
Well, guys,
Because it's probably empty. So she was like, shit.
from that point forward, she put it in her rider. She's like, only plastic, okay?
Well, I'll say that if it's the case, if the explanation is that it might have been empty, fine. The one problem I had with this movie has now been taken care of. I'm sorry, it's an excellent film.
So yeah,
come around.
they start conversing. Edward and Bella. Edward is like, "How come you wanted to live with your dad and not live with your mom?" And blah blah blah. Very personal questions. 5 minutes into their friendship. She also makes note of his eyes changing color. He's like, they were black and now they're brown. He's like, oh, it's the fluorescence. It's like the worst excuse ever. And then a real turning point happens because there's a big collision almost in the school parking lot. A car nearly squashes Bella, but Edward steps in at the last second and stops it with one hand and makes a big dent in the car. Uh-oh, that's not what humans do.
It was at this point that I actually noted a couple of things here. One, stop mumbling, please, because they don't speak too clearly. And two, this is going to be 1,000 deaths long, isn't it?
2 hours.
Okay,
I
1,000
love
deaths
it.
long. Yeah. She's almost killed, like you said, by somebody. And then we meet Edward's dad, sort of. He's the boob grabber from Nurse Jackie.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like Peter Facinelli or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays Dr. Kellan, which, okay, so his whole thing is, how old is that actor? Because he looked like he was maybe 10 years older than Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, it's they've acknowledged that the Cullens are supposed to look super young and that they've just like adopted these children like out of the
Okay.
goodness of their heart, even though they're like quite young.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And so
Yeah, because when we meet them, Anna Kendrick explains that they were all adopted, so it's totally cool that they're hooking up, sort of, maybe, kind of, because they're not technically related.
yeah. I think they acknowledge that it's still weird, but she's like, definitely confirms that they're hooking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dr. Kellan is Edward's quote unquote father, and Edward is trying to play it off like, because she's like, dude, you stopped a vehicle with one hand and like crushed part of it. Something's going on. He's like, no, you hit your head. Oh, you must be so concussed. Oh, Bella, you okay?
I was right next to you.
Yeah. Listen, what does he say? They make a deal. She's like, hey, tell me how you did that. And he's like, okay, fine. I'll tell you how I did that if you tell me something. And he's like, I had a sudden burst of adrenaline. Okay, now why do you want to go to, what's in Jacksonville? Why do you want to go to Jacksonville? And she's like, Floridians. Calling him on his bullshit answer. Mike pops up out of nowhere like an RKO. Got another one in. And
Sweet. Yeah, it's good to have him.
He's literally the
Insurance.
human equivalent of a golden retriever.
he's the worst. He gets worse later, too. And he's just like, hey, Bella, you want to go to prom? Huh?
We're pals, ain't we, Chester?
Which way do we go, Bella? Which way do we go? The funniest part about this scene is watching the background with Edward just in the background, like, sulking. Standing there, like... That killed
They
me.
don't know I'm listening to everything in his head.
Yeah. Oh, because later we find out he can read minds. I have so many questions.
It's actually it's a one-sided conversation if he's listening to that thing, because we find out he can't understand what's going on in Bella's head. He can't hear her, not unlike some other much better books and just media in True Blood.
But is it that he can just has really good hearing, or is he listening to their thoughts in this scene? I thought he just had really good hearing.
He can. Well, he would have been
read their
listening to the
thoughts.
conversation, but he's also listening to what Mike's thinking. So he knew Mike was going to ask her out. So he's just in the background being like, what's she going to say?
Well, I'll tell you what everyone is saying. La Push. We all got to go to La Push, baby.
Baby, La Push.
La Push. You going to La Push? I'm going to La Push.
Last time I went to La Push, I needed a fucking shot from the doctor. Anyways.
Say,
it sounds like a strip club in Quebec. I'm just going to put that out
It's
there.
a real place with...
I don't doubt that.
And the tribe is a real tribe that she has never sent a dime to.
oh, Stephenie Meyer?
Yeah, I've sent more money to them than she has.
There you go.
Which is sad.
Oh yeah, no, I remember you posting something about the actual tribe, of which Taylor Lautner is a member, right?
No,
Definitely not. No, even if he could claim any sort of more direct native ancestry, it would be of like the Michigan tribes, because he's from Michigan.
Everybody's going to the beach. Come. I mean, have fun.
Which beach?
La Push.
I don't know.
Is there something wrong with that beach?
It's just a little crowded.
So, spoiler alert for future movies. The real tribe, werewolves?
The real tribe, are you asking if they're werewolves?
Yeah, IRL.
Are there actual lycan?
They do.
We are putting you on blast.
Basically,
You need to now.
She retcon. They do actually have a history that links back
the
into
real,
wolves.
No.
Yeah, I'm saying that. Yes, the real
They're
tribe
lycan.
has a
They're
history that
lycanthrope.
leads. They're not. Okay.
Okay.
There is actually, like, they do have it in their stories, but then she ends up retconning like a huge aspect of their story to like rewrite something for the third book, and that turned into like a really weird exploitative thing because she again has never sent them any money or anything. Like, yes, they've made a lot of like tourism funds from it, but still
you're using their mythos to make $1 million.
Yeah, like literally their tribal history she's reworked. So like there is some, like when it started off, it's like, yeah, there's some links to like wolf ancestry, not ancestry, but like wolf stuff that you can actually read about it online. I'll give you guys the links so you can like plug them somewhere.
She said it. They are ancestors, literal lycans.
Oh my god.
I was just hoping that werewolves existed, so now I'm bummed.
Sorry.
It's okay. I forgive you. Edward's really mysterious, you guys. He wants to be friends, but if she's smart, she'd stay away from him. But she invites him to La Push, but Edward does not show up, and that is because, well, we'll find out later. But there is some.
But he says it's gonna be crowded.
Yeah, it's gonna be too crowded.
So he doesn't wanna go.
There's like 10 people there.
Exactly. That's why it was funny.
It's crowded for that town.
Yeah,
it was
true.
funny.
Okay, Amanda, it's funny. God damn it.
Well, it was supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be funny.
Okay.
It's fishy swassa. It's supposed to be cold. So he doesn't go. And we see another hilarious moment is when Bella is just like hanging out there, kind of bummed out that he's not at La Push. And Jacob and two actual Native American actors show up. And the two other actors are like, the Cullens don't come here. And then
they
we
just
learn,
don't.
Yeah, they just don't. And then we learn the whole like backstory, like the ancestry, like you said, about this this tribe that Stephenie Meyer has decided to include in her books and not acknowledge the real people in any way, shape, or form. She could have just made up a tribe. Like, honestly, this is a fictional
That's what
movie.
She should have done.
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much as not acknowledging them. It's just, not giving them some giving them something back.
Because on the one note, she was probably like, "Oh, I did like real research here and incorporated something that's like real into my story. It makes it exciting." Except like you're literally appropriating a culture.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
But I
maybe
mean,
don't
guys,
do that.
she's just a poor writer. I mean, what was she making per book? Like $20?
Totally. I'm the only buyer.
I thought it was off-putting when they said in this backstory thing about how the Cullens were told to. Somebody was told that they didn't want to get exposed to, quote, the pale faces.
Mm-hmm.
That was something. Then we cut to some dude we saw earlier for like all of 10 seconds. What the fuck was his name?
Waylon, who was super on a list.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he was like, I was Santa and I had little bottles of
Had
alcohol.
you on my knee? Yeah, I was like, no, that's no. This
know,
is supposed to be
she was
endearing, and it's
for-
not.
I think the exchange between her dad is something like, she was 4. You probably didn't leave a big impression. And then he was like, oh, I left an impression. And I was like, oh my God,
Oh my
this
God.
guy is on a list.
Because
Blue Dot website, that's what he's on.
because I don't feel bad at all that he dies in this part. Because
No,
These,
no. Other than the fact that he's Bella's dad's friend.
yeah. He gets killed by a bunch of super sexy vampires. One of which is played by Cam Gigandet. Is that his name? Gigandet?
Son of El Gigante.
Son of El Gigante. Man, that guy, if you watch like any movie from like early 2000s to like 2013, they put him in everything. They were just like, this guy is going to take off. We're going to put him in every genre.
Yeah, we just made a joke about not knowing who he is and saying he was the son of a wrestler.
Well, I mean, he's just such like a plain-faced, dull actor, like a young teen guy, and I just remember there was a Nicolas Cage movie that he's in, and there's like another movie that he's in, and it's just like, oh, what can we do with this charisma vacuum, Cam Gigante?
Wait, were you guys talking about me?
Oh
No, Jai, we weren't talking about you, buddy. No,
You're the
dude in Twilight.
You're the OG, Jai.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go get a sandwich from Milos. Do that, buddy. Have a good time.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bring up a sore subject there.
I think he heard you talking about what you were talking about and assumed it was him.
Yeah, he heard dull and listless and charisma vacuum.
Keep it.
Well, guys,
No, Jai, just eat your sandwich. Jeez.
it's time for a shopping spree.
Makeover.
But-
But not for Bella, just for Anna Kendrick and the other girl.
Yeah, I was disappointed there was no montage here. Amanda, why wasn't there a montage? Explain yourself.
Because Bella's not like the other girls.
Oh, she's not like most girls?
She's not like most girls. She was just waiting to go to the bookstore, so there's no...
And then there's some pervy dudes that kind of knock on the glass, and you think, okay,
God.
that's just an offhand joke. Nope, they come back, and there's literally almost a close to a rape scene.
Yeah.
They all
It's a gang of
circle her.
molesters, yes.
What's that?
It's a gang of molesters, yes.
It is. It was terrifying. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I believe the actor is as a gaggle.
A gaggle?
In the book, it's
gaggle of
worse. They like
molesters.
herd her. They follow, 2 of them follow behind her and like catcall in a way to make her drive her in certain directions so that the other ones can loop around and cut her off from the front. I'm like,
Well,
holy shit! Calculated.
I'm glad they toned that down a little bit in this PG-13 movie for teens.
Gracious.
As if the book isn't. The book was also in the teen section.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
Actually, in my kid's local middle school, you have to be in 8th grade to get the Twilight books.
I appreciate that. That's probably a good idea.
There's my
Because that's when they start being teens.
my
13 and up.
youngest, she got that one of them, I think the 5th book or something, and it had that labeled right on it about
13
only for 8th graders. That's it. You're on 8th grade, you can't get this book. And when I was watching this movie, oh my God, she was in her glory because she was like, "Oh, you're watching." And she didn't even know it was Twilight. She called it Edward.
She called it Edward. Oh no.
By the way, that's the adaptation of that Midnight Sun book.
It's just going to be called Edward.
Edward.
And I was warned not to say anything bad about him at all on this podcast.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, I'll
She
cover
doesn't listen.
it. She doesn't listen.
I'm gonna talk so much shit about that glittery bastard.
But yes, thankfully, everybody was on the edge of their seats just now because we talked about a possible gang rape, but that doesn't happen because Edward shows up and scares them by snarling, I guess, and they go off to have a bite.
Oh god.
And she eats literally.
I refrained from making a "this is gonna suck" joke like so long ago. I'm disappointed in you.
Why do I feel like I heard that?
I did not want to say that this was gonna suck, and I so wanted to.
You're confusing. I believe, Amanda, you're confusing that with all the other dad jokes I've heard from Nathan on this podcast.
Fair, you're right. So
what?
easy.
What? No, what? What's he saying?
She, by the way, they go off to have a bite to eat, and she eats literally the worst thing I can imagine: mushroom ravioli. Gross.
Yeah.
It's just an editorial note.
Is she supposed to be? She's supposed to be vegetarian or vegan?
No,
right?
she's not.
I don't think so.
Because because even when she was at the diner, she didn't want to have the dad's heart attack.
Yeah,
breakfast.
she had the garden. Yeah, no, she is not supposed to be vegetarian or vegan. She cooks for him all the time, and it's a variety of meats.
Okay.
A variety of meats.
I did enjoy the name of my next band, but I did enjoy the rockabilly waitress at the diner. She was pretty great.
Yeah,
she was great. Oh yeah, fun fact. As that scene is ending,
it's an interesting tidbit.
Yeah, it's an interesting tidbit.
So you're right. Interesting tidbit. The person that waitress, not at this scene, but at the diner scene that was already mentioned, when they're like, "Here's your garden burger, Stephenie." That is actually Stephenie Meyer, and that was her inserting herself into the movie.
What?
It's a real Stephen King move on her part.
Do you think she auditioned? Exactly. Do you think she auditioned for Bella?
She probably yes. Yes, she did.
No, I still want Edward to be Robert Pattinson if I get the part.
Her first choice for Bella was Emily Browning.
Okay.
Because she had that on her website back in the day. Like, she had her ideal cast list. I don't think anybody actually got cast from it, but
I mean, that's not terrible.
It's not terrible. It actually very much makes sense with the description.
Wait, was Edward gonna be like Danny DeVito?
I can't. Yeah, it was actually. How did you know?
Oh shit!
I think it was Henry Cavill actually.
Henry what?
But yeah, that didn't. I don't know
Superman?
if that makes sense. Yeah, but it was before he was Superman. She had a couple of people. Either way, back to the rockabilly.
There was a time before he was Superman.
That's why I'm not sure if it was Henry Cavill, but I had to look into it. But I feel like I remember being shocked that that's who it was when I looked it up years later.
God, I hope she didn't think it was. You mean Jim Caviezel?
Oh, thank you.
No, not Jim Caviezel.
Well, it would be in line with Stephenie Meyer's real life.
I suppose.
So yeah, Edward is like, check this out. I can read people's minds, and he makes okay. I'm just gonna say this. He makes some very vague guesses as to what people are thinking. He's like, this person's thinking sad. This person's thinking hungry. This person's thinking
no.
sad.
It's literally
money.
it's literally sex.
Yes,
cat.
right.
Yeah, sex.
It's literally it's sex the whole time. Yeah,
I would have laughed if he had said cat. And she said, "Oh, that's different." He's like, "No, also sex."
No, also sex. Yeah, that's where my mind always goes. I'm like, oh god, because it's the way he's looking. He's like, It's like, oh god.
Because that's the face I make when I just think briefly about my cat. I make.
I don't know, man. You love your cats quite a bit.
You don't know anything. On their way, so they leave the restaurant. Yeah, he says he can't hear her thoughts, and I said, "Oh, so she's literally an empty vessel? Is that what the movie is telling me right now?" But on their way back,
no, she just took the whole Sookie Bill dynamic from the first season of True Blood.
I haven't seen True Blood ever.
Good show.
Okay,
good show.
On their way out of the restaurant, they kind of witnessed some shit going down at the police station, and that's when we learned that Waylon was the one killed. I didn't even put that together at the time because he was so his face was kind of unmemorable, but he was killed by, quote, an animal attack. And then Bella's dad is like, "Take this mace. Don't want those animals attacking."
Yeah, here's some unregistered mace.
You gotta register your mace,
right?
Gotta register that mace.
Yeah, who's gonna arrest her? The chief of police?
Maybe they should have had that scene, Amanda. She's like, "Listen, I'm your father, and I love you, but you're under arrest."
You gave me this unregistered mace. I'm sorry,
There was way
too. There was way too much, emotion there. You gave me this unregistered mace.
And then you hear the director saying, "Perfect, cut."
Perfect. Cut.
Yeah, so then Bella starts doing her research and finds out that, hey, wait a second.
Starts doing her own research.
Starts doing her own research.
Starts doing her own research.
No, don't you dare.
I'm just saying, she comes to some wild conclusions. In a normal universe, people would be like, no, you know what? That's not a thing. There's no way. And this is the way she should react to the idea of high school boyfriend being a vampire.
No, when you're in high school, you want everything to be important. You're like, no, my life is actually exceptional, and I'm just waiting for the moment that it presents itself.
I will say that at least she didn't get all her research from Facebook articles. That makes her better than most doing your own research people. But yeah, she finds out, she's like, now wait a second, I think Edward might be a gosh darn vampire. And she basically goes with Edward out to like the woods, and she's like, how long have you been 17? He goes, a while.
I love it. I love it.
My favorite thing in this whole scene is when she's listing all the things that makes her think he's a vampire, and then he's like, say it out loud, vampire.
I know what you are.
Say it out loud. Say it.
Vampire.
Are you afraid?
No.
And it's like the cameras are like whooshing in all different directions and like panning in and panning out. I'm like, cinema.
It was during this scene that I actually noted I had to calm myself and said, I didn't rage quit Human Centipede 2. I'm not going to rage quit Twilight.
Oh.
And I didn't.
Well, good, because this would be an awkward podcast to record.
The visual effect when he takes her running up the mountain. Oh my god!
You mean when she's basically like Yoda to his Luke Skywalker?
Yeah. I love it.
Yes, if Luke Skywalker was on like, I don't know, a meth lab's worth of meth,
or just a lot of downers.
Well, you would think a guy with that sullen Cullen would not have that much energy in him, but boy, that boy could move.
Yeah, he takes her all over the forest, and then he's like, check out what happens to my skin in the sun, and 1,000 sparkly vampire jokes are born.
Boo!
See, I'm so over the sparkly vampire jokes. Like, it's been done to death. I'm just like, no, it's fair. Like, they made them sparkle too much in that movie for sure. It does look like they just glittered his fucking face, but it's supposed to look like she in the books changed the way she described it because people kept making fun of it too much. So it's supposed to look more like diamonds, like light hitting a diamond versus light hitting
like
a bunch
shimmer?
of fucking glitter. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it does have.
She says that she loves him, and he says that he's like the most dangerous predator, and he did not look a thing like Harvey Weinstein.
He also didn't look like Waylon from earlier.
Oh Jesus!
Is this a Miramax film? No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. Okay,
it's,
we're safe.
Summit Entertainment.
We're safe, everyone. We're safe. I did laugh out loud hard when she said, "You're beautiful," when his skin is sparkling, and he says, "Beautiful. This is the skin of a killer, Bella."
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. He's like
maybe
so
in regards to that awesome song by Freddie Mercury,
Killer Queen.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. They should have put that in. Edward said, yeah, so Edward's like talking about like, I've killed people before and I wanted to kill you and take your blood more than anyone else ever. And Bella is basically just like, you seem cool.
I don't care. I love you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Edward says, but his vampire
teenagers.
family, we're kind of known as vegetarian vampires. We do eat meat, but we only kill animals. And but Bella, you're like my own personal brand of heroin.
Yeah, love it.
It was weird that it took that whole Lou Reed Iggy Pop twist for a second, didn't it?
He just like takes Bella's blood, tries to like inject it into his arm. I do like that.
Listening to
He says,
Knights in White Satin play over a blaring PA.
I do like that he says his own personal brand of heroin is just like, it just made me think of like no name brand heroin.
Well, I mean, you save on it, but I mean, really, it's a situation where if you want the real quality stuff, you definitely want to go with the Kellan brand of heroin for sure.
You notice it. You notice the difference.
It's a family secret. It goes back generations. Well, I mean, our generations, not for them, because they're vampires and things, you see.
Yeah.
Kellan heroin sketch.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. So yeah, he's the lion fell in love with the lamb. He says, Sparkles.
Oh God.
We also
I nearly rolled an eye out of a socket watching this whole scene.
Yeah, so many of those lines are like thrown in there so that you can like put them on merchandise.
Yes.
That's the least shocking fact you've told us so far.
Yeah, same thing with like all like the Kellan crests, anything they do for the Quileute tribe, they just make it up so that they can like put it on something and like sell it.
Yeah, just like when Star Wars was putting Star Wars on like apples and shit. Remember that? Do I really need a Force Awakens orange? Not really.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Maybe
so
a Last Jedi kumquat to be okay.
I could go for a Rise of Skywalker plum.
Delicious.
Yeah. So yeah, that happens. Bella repeats everything we just heard essentially in voiceover in case we didn't get it. And then we get a hilarious montage of them in school. Edward is like, I'm breaking all the rules now. Sunglasses.
That's my favorite scene. I love it.
It's my favorite scene too, because it starts off with her getting out of his car and some girl going, "Oh my God." And I wanted to be like, look at her butt. It's just so sparkly. I bet she's
like,
one of those vampires' girlfriends.
I just love that it's like I'm breaking all the rules, and I'm like, the rule of not smiling? Is it like now that you're smiling, is that the big rule you're breaking?
Yeah.
I like sparkly butts, and I cannot lie.
He lacked the 17 muscles required, and now he's got him, baby.
Now he's got him.
He tells his origin. Edward tells his origin story. Sorry, I say Eddie because sometimes in my notes I have Ed, I have Eddie, I have Eduardo. Just
so you have Ed, and Eddie.
Yes, all three.
Okay.
He tells his origin story. So the Dr. Kellan is Carlisle, and he bit him and his own wife to turn them because they were dying of the Spanish flu. There you go, anti-vaxxers. Just let a vampire bite you. No needles. Oh, no, wait. Don't do that because then you'll live forever. Never mind.
I don't think they would sparkle as brightly.
I'm just worried that they'd rather get bitten by a vampire than take a fucking vaccine.
Oh, okay.
It's safer. I did my research.
I did my own research.
No.
Why not both?
There you go. A Draxine.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some Draculas in this movie. Meanwhile, guys, Edward and Billy Black have a big stare down. Then old Jacob pops out and at Bella's place because they're just here to check out the flat screen. Mariners, baby.
I don't understand anybody's fascination with baseball in this movie or in general that fucking game.
Is anybody?
Baseball is the worst, but
Okay.
vampire baseball is the best.
If vampire baseball was a sport, I would watch it every night.
Same, absolutely.
Every single. I'd be
Every
like,
night.
and if it could only happen during thunderstorms, I would pray for thunderstorms every night.
Yeah, I'd be like, let's go.
But Bella, it's time to meet the parents, folks. If only Edward's father was played by Robert De Niro, that would have been the icing on the cake. But he's not. But she admires. She's like, you have a very nice, light, open house for a vampire. And then they create a moment. They create an awkward moment that didn't have to be an awkward moment because they go there and the vampire family nicely has prepared a meal for Bella because they don't eat, regular food, but she does. So they're being nice about it. And Edward is all, she's already eaten. Oh my God,
He's
you
the
guys.
worst. Like a petulant child, like the worst. And then like Rosalie has to like break the fake glass, but it clearly wasn't like good fake glass, so that she still had to be wearing gloves for no apparent reason, so she could crush the bowl in her hand and not like injure herself.
Right.
I love that touch.
I swear to God, when Bella looks at them after Edward says she already ate, you just doesn't eat food, she almost looks at him and is like, why the fuck did you say that, dude? I could have just ate some food.
And I could have ate some and done a take-home dish. I mean,
yeah,
really.
Just be like, I'm a little nervous meeting new people. I have a little bit of food. You can always add a little bit more to the tank. You're good.
I'm a firm believer that if you don't have to make a situation uncomfortable, you don't do it.
Exactly. Fuck you, Edward.
Yeah. Fuck you, dude.
I should start doing that then.
I do like his wall of graduation caps from all the times he's graduated.
That was an interesting piece of art.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
He said,
I would buy a replica.
I love how he says. I love how he points to it and he's like, inside joke.
Like, it takes 2 seconds to get it once you know they're vampires.
Yeah.
They've all graduated from high school a bunch of times.
He's got a great music collection. He's such an old soul. Oh, right.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And then we have a great moment where, like, in any other movie, they would, like, be talking about a modern pop hit or something. But Kristen Stewart is like, Claire de Lune is great.
Right.
I would have loved if she was talking about how he was such an old soul and she pulled out, like, Weird Al Yankovic's Off the Deep End.
I actually have a fun fact.
Oh.
An interesting tidbit. I have an interesting tidbit. So, in the book, Bella gets this CD from Phil and she listens to it at night a bunch to like drown out like the fact that she can't sleep because she can't stop thinking about Edward. We never find out what the band is until Midnight Sun, when Edward's like, wow, I wouldn't have pegged her for listening to this. It is Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park. A true classic.
Okay.
Because it's like, I never would have pegged her for like liking something so screamy or something, and then it ends up being fucking
like
the most mainstream screamy band that has ever existed.
Is the album is called Hybrid Theory?
Yeah, it's Linkin Park's first album.
Does it contain the song In the End?
Yes, it does.
Okay, that's like one of the 3 Linkin Park songs that I know.
Wow. But yeah, it's that whole album.
It doesn't even matter. Yeah. Great.
More than I know about Linkin Park.
So they're dancing. They start dancing to music that is non-diegetic, so I don't know what's going on there. Edward takes Bella on another Yoda, Luke Skywalker adventure through the woods, and she's like, I'm not afraid of you.
Flies out the window with her.
Yeah, because she says,
you
I'm not
better
afraid
hold
of you.
on tight, Spider Monkey.
Spider Monkey.
Jesus Christ.
Not in the book.
I love the bits, by the way, where you can. I mean, it's not often, but there's like a few little moments where you can hear his accent peeking out a little bit, and it's fun. It's like,
You're a bit.
He's much better at it now, I think, but at the time, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they're
better be for that Batman movie.
Oh, I think that Batman movie is gonna be sick. I'm excited.
Oh, I'm so excited.
That trailer looked really good. But it can't be Batman. He sparkles. Blah.
He's a good actor. He doesn't make all great choices.
Yeah, name me an actor that's only been in great movies. I'll wait.
Oh, Christopher Walken.
Nathan. You know for a fact at the early onset of our podcast that is not true. And I'll give you 9 reasons why not.
Has Timothée Chalamet ever been in a bad movie?
Little Women. Oh, just kidding. Don't hurt me.
He's young. Give him time.
You know, that's
what I mean. Like
that sounded like a Timothée Chalamet laugh right there. That was pretty good. I don't know if he has. Was he in like a Turtles movie or something?
I'm assuming he's been in something. I don't know his whole discography. I was just thinking.
His discography?
His filmography. I don't know his full filmography.
I'm not a fan of him as an actor. I like his albums.
I'm really more into his depressing music, personally.
It'd be great if his music career, though, was actually like really upbeat. Like he sang like,
I'm so happy. Hey, nothing's gonna bring me down. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, I love Timothée Chalamet's cover of Walking on Sunshine. Oh, anyway.
Shining happy people holding hands.
Shining happy Okay, Twilight. Where are we at? Oh, yeah, so they're dancing, they're climbing around, they're jumping around. I laughed for a solid minute when this montage ended with them playing piano together. That was hilarious.
Interesting tidbit. He wrote that song.
Robert Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson wrote Bella's Lullaby.
Oh, okay, so he's actually legit pretty good at piano.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Points?
Interesting tidbit.
Thank you.
Don't talk like a lunatic like you were before.
What? Oh, fun facts.
Saying like
Yeah.
fun facts. Good lord.
That's
That's the first sign of syphilis, I think.
wow.
Shit.
I'll have to call Stephen Izzy and let them know. So Mike shows back up and he says, "You and Kellan, huh? I don't like it." Like, that's too bad for you, pal.
I'm gonna date him even harder now.
Yeah, well, exactly. Fuck off, Mike. Bella.
Is it this point where Bella at that one point describes what somebody as he's a good buddy, which I've never ever heard a single girl ever say in my entire life.
She says that about...
Yeah, when her dad's like, "I see that Newton kid's got moon eyes for you," and he's like, "Yeah, he's a good buddy."
Yeah, she tried to use friend dialogue as much as possible to tell her dad that's not a thing, by the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're both they're kind of almost Bella's going to discuss boys with her dad, and then she's like, "I don't think I want to talk about boys with you." Okay, fair enough. TTYL.
Oh, yeah, but then Mom wants to talk about nothing but boys when she talks to her. So much, I'm like, slow your roll,
safe?
Mom.
Yeah. Are you using protection? Are you blowing him yet? I'm like, whoa, Mom. But that's okay, guys, because thankfully she gets out of that awkward conversation when Edward materializes in her fucking room.
And not the first time in the movie.
No, he's
Yeah,
enjoyed
not
watching
the
her
first
sleep.
time.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Guys, is he jerking it in her room?
I have another interesting tidbit.
Was he jerking it in real life?
No, the way that he gets into her room, he actually has to use like some like fucking WD-40 on the window so it doesn't creak when he opens the window to sneak up on her. Like, to not sneak up, but to like spy on her at night. There was planning there. He was like, "Oh shit, that's an old window. I'm gonna have to oil that before I watch her asleep."
Good
Jeez,
lord.
I thought he just turned into a bat.
Just turned into a pervert.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, can the vampires in these movies turn into bats? Is that a thing?
No.
Oh,
No.
No.
Okay.
Not as cool as that's for sure.
Okay, so yeah, he's talking about how he likes watching her sleep, and she's like, okay. He says, "I want to try something that I've never, ever done." And then I thought the joke was going to be like they're getting close to kiss, and then it was going to be something else. But no, it's kissing. He's never kissed anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the scene of sensuality.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because he
And
stops
then he
himself.
launches himself back.
Yeah, and he's like, "I don't want to hurt you." I'm like, dude.
And then she's just sitting there in her underwear, and I was like, risque.
The next morning, though, Dad's been drinking, I think, and he's like loading his gun, and Bella is like,
Cleaning
it.
his shotgun.
He's cleaning
Yeah,
his
it's a
shotgun.
nice little. His nice little break action double barrel. Yeah,
I
gun.
gotta ask Nathan, because in this scene, she asks him if he wants to meet Edward, and he cocks the shotgun, and I said, "Is this Nathan? Is this the Nathan's life?"
No. I don't need to. I already have I just have a deer head that they see when they come in the room. So the first thing they see when they come in the door. I just say, "You know what? You see that deer head, son? You see that deer head? Yep. It's a beautiful, majestical creature of nature. Absolute poetry incarnate. I didn't know it, and it never did a single thing to me. And I shot and killed it. What do you think I'm going to do if you hurt my daughter?"
Okay, so no shotgun cocking. That's fine.
I don't need it. Don't need it.
I don't need it.
Also, when the way he flipped it shut, it's not loaded because he was cleaning it.
Okay. I think he just did that for the intimidation factor.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, absolutely. It's like, all right.
Yeah,
Bring
let's
him
meet
in.
him.
Yep.
But yeah, so and he's also been drinking, which is why I was like,
It's like the middle of the day. It's the middle of the day.
Yes.
It's fine.
Have you ever been to Washington?
Yeah, just in early January though.
Yeah.
Wait, not this one.
No, not that Washington. The state of Washington.
No, I did go to the state of Washington because I read the instructions wrong. from
So you're just like hanging out in Snohomish County on January 6th.
guys. I'm getting ready to storm. Where is everyone?
Why is there a Starbucks on every corner?
But no, guys, it's time for vampire baseball.
Calm as you see him, Bella. Okay.
It's time.
Okay, now I see why you need the thunder. That's gotta be a home run, right? Edward's very fast.
The best scene ever.
The best
So, okay.
scene. in
So
the movie.
I said I had a story in regards to this before you guys get
Yes.
into your breakdown.
You
about
have
it.
played vampire baseball.
I have not.
Oh,
I
damn
wish.
it.
Sort of, maybe. When this movie first came out on DVD, Patty and I watched it because we wanted to see what all the fuss was about, and we watched it from beginning to end. Didn't much care for it. Never saw any of the sequels. You flash forward a few months later, we're starting to watch True Blood, and I put the first episode on for her. And she watched it, and she noticed the beats about, the human girl and the vampire falling in love, him not being able to read her mind. She said to me, didn't we watch this, like, a few months ago, and they, like, all went out and played baseball in the sparkly... I'm like, no, sweetheart, that was Twilight. This is True Blood. This is good.
Yeah, because they premiered the same year, so they would have been in like production and development at like the exact same time.
Sorry,
but I can understand why your brain would be like, yeah, didn't they like? Wasn't there like some like Mississippi baseball like?
So they really love baseball. It's America's pastime, and they can only play it during a thunderstorm because they're so goddamn strong.
They're so gosh darn loud, just the crack.
Yeah, and we get a real tasty guitar lick during this whole thing.
Yeah, Supermassive Black Hole by Muse, a classic that I just now refer to as the Vampire Baseball song.
That's all it can be. I mean, once
Exactly.
your music has been scored to Vampire Baseball, like what other kind of identity can you have? So the Vampire Baseball is great, and they jump in the air in slow motion and bounce into each other a bunch of times, and it's awesome and fantastic, and it's great. Then the sexy vampires show up. The other sexy vampires show up. The villains.
Lenny Kravitz, not Christian, and Ellie Kemper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Cam Gigante, right? El Gigante's son, as we said.
El Gigante's son, yeah.
They want to play baseball, too, totally. There's no tension here at all. But then Cam Gigante hilariously takes this big dramatic sniff of the air, and he's like, "You brought a snack." And now he's out for Bella's blood. We have a major conflict, and a villain 95 minutes into this movie. So yeah, we get a bunch of intense staring. Edward quickly whisks Bella away, and he's like, "We need to get this vampire. We need to rip him apart and murder him." And I'm like, "Whoa!"
we need to get you out of town.
And I'm like, "We have taken a fucking step up to the streets in this part. Like this made a big turn at this moment."
Yeah.
But Bella wants to go with her dad, and Edward's like, "That's a bad idea because I think your dad would not be able to fight a vampire."
So what you should do is you should bitch him out and use exact verbiage that your mom used when she left him.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she does do it in a way where he won't come looking for her, and she has to be as like mean as possible, so like
Do you know what
she can actually leave.
The best option would have been? That literally would have been like, "Hey, Dad, had a great night. I'm gonna go have a sleepover at Angela's house or Jessica's house.
Yeah.
Bye.
I'm going to Anna Kendrick's. We're gonna do karaoke.
Yeah, we're gonna do karaoke, hot girl shit.
Karaoke with Anna Kendrick.
But yeah, it had to be dramatic. It had to be like, what would be a reason why she'd be gone for like potentially days at a time? Mm-hmm. But like, obviously, eventually, someone was gonna be like, okay, she never made it to Florida. Like,
Dad, I'm gonna go on a alcohol binge for a few days. I'll be back. Don't come looking for me. Yeah, I get it. But no, she goes off, and Edward takes her out of town. Then, okay, I didn't super understand that. So Rosalie, by the way, we should mention Rosalie is super jealous about Bella all the time because I think she also likes Edward, which is weird because he's kind of her
No,
brother.
she does not.
Oh.
She does not.
Okay.
Rosalie is jealous for a couple of reasons. For one, her and Jasper are kind of like the protectors of the family. It's their job to like be very, they see it as if their secret's going to get exposed. They want to fucking leave. And Rosalie was technically turned to be Edward's mate, but they didn't like each other. But then she's still kind of like, it's normal for me not to like him, but it's weird that he doesn't like me.
No.
But her issue with Bella is that, for one, Bella runs the risk of like exposing their family, and two, she wishes she was still a human, so she's like upset that Bella's like giving it away or wants to give it away.
Okay.
So yeah, there's reasons why she's a bitch.
But yeah, and then thank you because I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, there you go.
I also
Yeah.
might need you to
Yeah.
explain this next part because the character Alice, who again I think I'm
Love
only mentioning
Alice.
for the first time now, but she has some like, what's her power thing? Because she's like drawing or something, and she's like, oh, he's at the ballet studio.
She can see the future, but if people change their decisions, it changes the future. So the drawing is just like an added thing that she can like draw what's in her mind. So she can just kind of like sketch out so other people can see what it is. The drawing never ever happens again in the series, I don't think.
So it's just this
But-
one scene.
Yeah, so she can see, like, if I was gonna decide to go somewhere and get like a certain dress, she could be like, that's a bad dress, call a different one. But if I was like if I was gonna like if at the last second, if I was gonna go somewhere and buy like a dress, but then the last second I decided, I'm gonna go to Starbucks first, it would change as I made that decision. So that's why when she's like, oh God, no, the future changed because he's now realized that he was being sent on some wild fucking goose chase.
Yeah, because
so
they try to throw him
his
off
plans.
with like her scent and shit.
Wasn't it great when they
Yeah,
told her
exactly.
to mark the tree?
She just rubbed up
Yeah.
against it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
I was hoping she was gonna be like a cat and just put like her ass on it, or just like spray it.
well, no, it had to smell
Yeah,
like
it wouldn't
Bella,
be her.
not her.
It wouldn't be Bella's
It
scent
would
then.
be her.
Oh, I guess not.
It would be Rosalie's. Dumbass.
Well, Jesus.
Calm down there, Gerard Butler.
So yeah, they're. But then Bella gets a call, and it's seemingly her mom, but no, it's actually Cam Gigandet, and he's like, "Yeah, I've got your mom totally hostage because I found your high school records, and boy, oh boy, they're really willing to give away your personal information. So you better come meet with me." So she's like, "Okie doke." But then she shows up to the ballet school, and what? He was just playing home video footage of her mom, and her mom's not really there.
What?
That was so ridiculous. Like, how did you know to cue it up perfectly like that? Like, that was some. I mean, maybe it's because we learned he's essentially a cinematographer at this point because Cam.
Yeah, he's making a movie.
Yeah, Cam Gigandet is a fucking
Yeah.
camcorder. And the way he's holding that camera and moving around, it's like he thinks he's Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just that. I love it.
So he tosses her around for a bit until Edward shows up, but he also sees that Bella's hand's bleeding, and it's like, I can imagine it's like when a young kid sees boobs for the first time. That was like the reaction I got from Edward when he saw
and
that bleeding.
her leg too.
Yeah.
Her leg too.
Like
Because
he
her
was
leg's
like,
ripped open.
I want to go to there is basically what
I want to go to there.
Bella is bitten by Cam Gigandet and is seemingly turning into a vampire, but it more looked like she just borrowed some of Jim Morrison's stash. Looks like she's just having like a bad trip.
Yeah, just the screaming. Yeah.
What do they do? So, okay, it's like this tender moment going on in the foreground, while in the background they are like burning Cam alive.
Yeah,
Yes.
like Alice like rips off his head and they like throw him in a pyre. That's
Yeah.
great.
I just love
But then you get the Robert Pattinson song where he's all like, "Oh my way," you know.
just love how
great.
that's happening while like that horrific stuff is happening in the background.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so they burn him alive. Edward sucks the venom, quote unquote, out, which I
Yeah.
didn't think that was a vampire thing.
Well, yeah, they can just. Yeah, it's because it didn't spread yet, so he could just suck. If they had left it alone longer, she would have
But
died.
I think they have venom, though. I thought it's just like if they.
No, that's what they
blood.
do. No, it's venom. No.
Wait.
Well, these vampires, it's venom. The thing that turns them into vampires is the vampire venom.
Stephenie Meyer's version of vampires.
And it would work so.
There's a lot of vampires that have venom, actually.
Listen, guys, if a vampire had venom, it would be perfect because he could still say Eddie.
Eddie, exactly. Stop. No, but it's true.
So yeah, so Bella's fine. She's in the hospital. Edward is sitting there pretending to be asleep. Her mom comes in and is like freaking out, and then Edward is all, "This is bad. You shouldn't be with me." And she's like, "No, don't say that. No, don't say that. Don't ever say that again. Okay, that's the end of that."
Can you imagine going through all of that, though? Because, like, you cared about someone so much, and they're like, I'm just going to leave you alone forever now. You're always going to be like, no.
You mean I went through all that?
And I don't even get that dick?
Yeah. And now you're going to, quote, unquote, protect
Cold,
me?
wet thing that I clearly
Yeah, I don't get that cold, wet thing.
expressed interest in not liking.
She needs
Yeah,
that
exactly.
cold, wet dick.
Worded that weird.
Exactly. That's what she's waiting for. 4 books it takes.
But she gets out of there. It's prom night. Edward is
We find
giving
out
off
that the
vibes
poor
that
Asian
Pop's
kid
like-
has to DJ his own prom.
Yeah. Well, he picked the theme. You can make your own bed.
Technically, they're not. It's their own prom would be the year after. They're just juniors right now. It's fine.
So it's their junior prom?
Yeah, it's their junior prom.
See, there you go, Nathan. It's perfectly fine.
I still feel that junior prom is the thing that's put on by the
Hey,
school,
it's-
and it's
at
weird
least-
that this kid had to DJ his own junior
Well, you
prom.
see,
Child labor.
it's better because in the books, Eric doesn't get a girlfriend at all. They blend Eric with another character for the movie, so at least he gets someone and isn't alone like he deserves to be.
So, Edward takes Bella to the prom, not before her dad gives her a brand new registered pepper spray, I'm assuming. Jacob then gets his creep on and swoops in and is like, "Hey, you should break up with him."
My dad paid me to come talk to you. $20.
Let's hear it.
Just don't get mad, okay? He wants you to break up with your boyfriend. It's just, he said, quote, "We'll be watching you."
Okay, well, tell him thanks.
Okay.
And to pay up.
Okay.
And I'm sorry. Listen, he's probably a nice guy. He's probably genuinely good dude. I don't know. Maybe he's not, but he seems like he is. He is one of the worst actors I've ever seen. I'm sorry.
Jacob?
Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner? Yeah, he gets the next movie. Just wait till you get to Where the Hell You Been At, Loca.
So, terrible prom dancing, of course. The night ends with Bella and Edward being in like a gazebo type dealio. And how convenient, by the way, that as soon as they show up, everyone else leaves.
Yeah, a new song starts and everybody just like promptly decides, you know what?
Did you hear the
They
song that
clearly need a
started?
moment.
'Cause that would have tanked just about anything I'd have went to.
Oh wait, I do remember. Isn't it the "I Found You"? It's that
I was
song.
a
I know exactly
quick,
what song plays in the
wet
prom.
boy diving too deep for coins. All of your straight light eyes wide on my plastic toys. Then when the cops
Yeah.
closed the fair, I cut my long baby hair, stole me a dog-eared map, and called for you everywhere. Sam, I am. I will try. I will try green eggs and ham.
I feel like
Weird
part
lyrics,
of that.
but
I feel like part of that was made
solid
up.
song.
The lyrics were
Oy.
ridiculous. On a Susie
Yeah,
and
they are very ridiculous lyrics.
But-
But yes,
This is the bit where Bella is like, you know what? I just want to be a vampire. Can you just make me a vampire? And he's like, whoa, hold on. We've got a few more movies yet.
you get frustrated, but like when I was a teenager, I would have been like, yes, I also want to be a vampire. Because when you're a teenager, you want to be something cool.
Yeah.
It's like when you read Harry Potter, you're like, I wish I was a fucking wizard. Like, I wish I was a supernatural creature.
Yeah. When I read Harry Potter,
I wish
I'm
I was
like-
a Jedi.
When I read Harry Potter, it's like, I wish I was a Dobby. Wait, no, I don't.
And all my constant viewings of the Nightmare on Elm Street series says about me.
No, I want to be a dream murderer. At least it was the original films, and it wasn't the remake that made you want to be like.
Oh, yeah, very true.
Well, apparently that was how it was originally supposed to be, but Wes Craven toned it down to sell it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know that going back to that was a great idea with the remake, but anyway,
certainly makes you hate him, and you don't want to see him become some sort of irreverent pop culture icon.
That poor actor was typecast though, because he did another movie where he also played a pedophile.
Yeah, Jackie Earle Haley's he's done some really.
But then he also
good
played a movie
work,
where he killed
but
pedophiles.
Yeah, he's done some really good stuff, but he's had some really questionable character type castings labeled upon him though.
Speaking of not pedophiles, they finished their dance, and she's basically like, okay, no vampire for now, but later on you better bite me. Rosalie is upset. Credits.
No, that wasn't Rosalie.
Was it? Who was that?
That's Victoria.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Jesus Christ, dude! You're.
I had
blonde, redhead, blonde.
I had white people face blindness.
Apparently.
I don't know. Neither character really left a mark, I guess. I just thought it was Rosalie. But anyway, the end credits. The music is hilarious. The montage is hilarious, but not as good as the best end credit sequence of all time in these movies, which we'll talk about one day.
Just Breaking Dawn. Yeah. Oh God, I love it.
But that is that's fucking Twilight. So we'll go around the horn. We'll find out everyone's ratings. I feel like I have an idea of where my co-host and our guest is gonna be. But Amanda, we'll start with you. Was this movie worth a watch? A drunk watch with friends? Would you commit head trauma to forget it or avoid like the plague?
It depends what you're looking for. I would at least say this is worth watching drunk with friends. I also think that if you were like a teenager, when like I was like 14 when the first book came out, and I read it when it came out. Like by the time it got to the last couple of books, I was like, these books are fucking trash, but I'll always have the first ones. And now I just think they're all hilarious. Like the Breaking Dawn movies are ridiculous and hilarious. There are body horror scenes. I was like, how did we get from you can barely have someone kissing for 2 seconds to like sex scenes and body horror? I love it. It's hilarious. So I would at least give it a worth a watch drunk with friends.
Okay, so drunk watch. All right, Nathan.
I watch it stone cold sober though.
I did. Nathan, same
He's
question.
Not really that sober. I mean, he drinks a lot.
I'm always a little not sober.
I mean stone cold.
Oh, okay. I thought you were accusing me of microdosing my alcohol.
No.
Nathan, same question. What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna go with the head trauma on this one, if you please. Not full on avoid like the plague, because like there are some bits in it that are kind of fun and funny, and the actors in this have done things that, and so I mean it's not terrible. You know for sure that it's a director's choice, not an actor's choice most of the time in this movie. So if I could, bludgeon my cranium so that I'd forget ever seeing it, I'd be pretty happy.
Is it so that you could get the pleasure of watching it again without any knowledge?
No.
Yeah, it is.
No.
I will also. No, I'm not. Sorry, I shouldn't say I'll also. I will give it the drunk watch rating for sure. I laughed a lot watching this movie.
It's funny.
And again, I mean, there's intentional and there's unintentional funny, I think, in this movie. And again,
absolutely,
I don't think it's not a genuinely well-made movie for the most part.
No,
but I don't think it quite deserves the vitriol it got when it came out, and I think part of that was kind of based on something else. But I'm not trying to say this is a hidden masterpiece. It's not. But I just don't think it's like the worst movie ever.
No.
Yeah, I actually think that you will probably find the third movie to be the worst movie.
Ooh, excellent.
Because it is like not as funny. It's not as interesting. It doesn't go over the top into ridiculous. And it's, I don't know. Actually, a lot of people hate New Moon, but I like New Moon.
Challenge accepted.
New moon. New
Oh, I thought you were gonna say. Oh, okay. There we go. New Moon River.
Nope, no, it's a different song. Different song altogether.
I know. So there you go. That's Twilight. We all have slightly different opinions. But we are going to take a brief break, hear from some sponsors, and we will be right back.
What were they thinking?
And we're back.
Yes, we are back.
Dinosaurs?
Damn.
A story about
Whatever.
them, etc. It is now time on the podcast for the low haiku. Nathan, would you like to explain to the folks what a low haiku is? I guess it's a term that we've coined.
So low haiku is 17 perfect syllables to describe a movie you've just been talking about for well over an hour.
So Amanda, as our guest, would you like to read your haiku?
Yes, I will read my low haiku, which is a little bit more for the fans of the series as a whole and less about this movie exclusively, because it all turns into an amorphous blob in my head.
So the people that are only angry at Nathan and I right now is what you're saying.
Probably.
Yes.
Okay. Probably.
Actually, I think you're probably in the clear, Brendan. You fell into the line of modern memes. You're fine. Nathan, on the other hand, though,
Ooh.
they're coming for your throat.
Whatever.
Hashtag watch out.
Ignore Edward and Jacob. They both fucking suck. Alice is Bella's true love.
Very good. Very, very good.
Very good. Nathan, you have a haiku for us?
Yes. It's a slightly hotter take, although that take was pretty hot when you get right down to it. Sparkled out the ass. Kristen is a Valium vampire. It sure ain't True Blood. Thank you.
Why did I like this? There's legit bad dialogue. Vampire baseball. And that's the haikus. And we're out.
We are.
And we are next segment. That's how we do it.
Check this off the list.
Let me take out my Excel spreadsheet and just delete that row. There we go. We, of course, talked about this movie. We had differing opinions, but Nathan, what do we always say?
Well, we always say...
Don't take a word for us.
That's right. Don't take our word for it. Nathan, I feel like this is a divisive Rotten Tomatoes entry.
You know what? Slightly. Not as drastic as I figured, given that, I could see critics deriding a lot of this stuff, but the critics gave it a 49.
Okay, so about half the critics were like, I can jive to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then as far as the audience goes, a lot of teens and soccer moms went to the movies that summer and enjoyed it because the 73 with the audience.
And Amanda, a lot of fake accounts created by Amanda the Jedi.
Possibly.
Actually, no, you know what the best part is that I can actually give this a critic-approved 5-star rating.
Do it.
Okay.
I have to actually make I'm going to. I can give every single Twilight movie a critic approved.
Well, if
5-star rating.
If we liked this, we might also like New Moon.
I don't get the connection at all.
Right. The Professional.
What? I think you mean the proposal.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. The Proposal. My bad. I'll do that again.
If you like Twilight, you might like Leon the Professional.
That would be great.
Well.
The Proposal. 9, the remake. Mamma Mia, and Julie and Julia.
All right, well, let's dive in. Let's get into these critics. Let's see. Laramie Legel says he's
Lord of
very
the Rings character?
Yeah. Laramie Legolas says from film.com. Own that domain. He must be rich. He says, "My hope is that the sequels are actual attempts at movies. The world doesn't need any more toothless cinema."
Ooh.
Okay. Well, my first critic one comes from Ann Cohen of Refinery 29. Now, she must be part of this Twilight Renaissance that Amanda talked about.
Oh no, the Renaissance had not started in 2018 yet. She was an outlier. She was early.
Oh, okay. So she was ahead of the curve, eh? She wrote that 10 years after its release, Twilight stands as a powerful, darkly stylish depiction of teen female desire.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Is that wrong? Yes, but it does. I've got one from Manola Dargis from the New York Times. A deeply sincere, outright goofy vampire romance for the hot, not to trot, abstinence set.
Wonderful. I kind of like this one from Sukhdev Sandhu of the Daily Telegraph from the UK. I watched Twilight in a cinema full of young girls who, when they weren't texting friends and guzzling soft drinks, giggled, sighed, and exhaled with a passion that was not only endearing, but a measure of its emotional truth. As a positive review.
Okay, I'm assuming it must go on because it sounded pretty negative.
No, I think he was saying that it was endearing, though.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Newton from the Georgia Straight wrote...
Mike Newton's father, the character from the movie.
Okay. Writes, unless you're a 14-year-old girl who gets all giddy at the thought of cute boys and first love, steer clear of 13 director Catherine Hardwicke's anemic adaptation.
Oof.
1 out of 5.
Damn.
Jesus,
Damn.
Steve did not care for that.
He did not. I got a positive one from Nigel Andrews from the Financial Times. Not sure why they wanted a Twilight review back in 2008.
They were doing the box office numbers and they got caught up in it.
Yeah, back in 2008. This is sexual gothic tripe of high order. I am looking forward to the second installment.
Wow. Okay, my last critics review. We'll do our last critics reviews here. This is from Richard Propes, and he simply says it's critic proof.
Yeah, I love that one.
It's true.
Okay.
I mean, like, no matter what they say, it's gonna make $700 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair.
So, yeah.
My last one comes from someone who sounds like the weather girl from a local news station, Sonny Bunch from the Washington Times. He writes, it's hard not to get sucked in if one can get past the sometimes hokey, melodramatic teenage dialogue. 2.5 out of 4.
I'll give my last one, which is a positive one. And even though it's positive, I even feel like it goes too far as the resident Twilight fan on this podcast. So Jeff Berkshire of Metromics.com. Twilight does that thing all great love stories do. It speaks to the heart. No, it literally plays to like wish fulfillment. It does not play to the heart. It's fantasy fulfillment.
Great.
I want to be special and important. Make me a vampire.
Great love story, huh? Those
the greatest.
Those are
of all
words
time.
that he put together in a sentence. All right, well, let's get into the real cream of the crop here. The audience reviews. These are sure to be insane and wonderful. I just want to start off by reading Kara I's review, who simply says, was it just me or was there a lot of staring? Like a lot of staring. 1.5 stars.
Okay. Well, my first one comes from Sam E. I can only assume it's Sam Elliott.
You're the voice.
And he writes, I really enjoyed this movie. A lot more than I thought I would. Before watching, I was under the impression that Bella was weak, and the movies are dumb. Don't get me wrong, Bella is certainly not the definition of a strong in this book. and she made choices I never would have recommended anyone to make. Fortunately for her, she got lucky. When you go into this movie, don't go into it looking for logic. Go into it looking for characters to make smart decisions or expecting no cheesiness or expecting this to make any sense. Go into this movie purely for entertainment purposes. And maybe, just maybe, you might be able to enjoy this movie. 4 stars.
Hell yeah.
Oh, why
Hell
wasn't
yeah.
Sam Elliott the narrator in this movie?
I love that. Oh my god.
You know,
so
I
I
never
have
thought
one.
about dying in somebody else's place.
Space.
He was so goddamn pretty. I said,
They're not actually related.
your skin is beautiful.
This is the skin of a killer, Bella.
You're
Now
like,
I've just gone
you're
southern
like
redneck.
a diamond in the rough.
Oh my
All right.
god.
So I've got a 5-star review from Math M. I'm in love with Edward. Like, I can't live without him. It's a good movie. The books are fantastic. Really, I'm in love. It's too sad for Jacob. I think he is a good wolf, but I know it's too hard for him. See the girl that you love being married with him enemy. Edward, it's really cute when he tells Bella that he had waited so long for her. Exactly 109 years. Bella, silly and considering she was still a teenager. I have to like skip through some of it. It's so long. Yeah. Risking her entire life to save the one she loved. Edward and Bella have a totally beautiful relationship, knowing that Edward had waited for someone like that and that Bella was his complement and always would be. She's just like gushing about the sacrifices this teen girl has made for her vampire boyfriend.
Killing me.
Wonderful. All right. Well, Crystal W says, I love all of Twilight Saga movies. This is one of the books I read that I did not have to read. Twilight Saga first movie, Twilight, is one of my favorites of the Twilight Saga movies. Twilight Saga second movie, New Moon. Twilight Saga third movie, Eclipse. Twilight Saga fourth movie, Breaking Dawn Part 1. Twilight Saga fifth movie, Breaking Dawn Part 2 is also one of my favorites of the Twilight Saga movies, even though my middle name is Dawn. And if you like these movies, you might want to see Snow White and the Huntsman movie that also filmed in between these movies with one of the actresses from the Twilight Saga movies, and I believe Remember Me movie that also filmed in between these movies with one of the actors from the Twilight Saga movies. And the Fast and Furious saga has 9 movies I have seen so far, and they are all amazing and features most of the original cast with some new additions, but they do not replace any of the original cast ever. 5 stars.
Wow. There was,
Wow.
I'm guessing they ate a lot of magic mushrooms before they wrote that review.
That was a journey. That was a roller coaster.
Man.
It was.
Oof. Option that one to Warner Brothers and make a mint. My next one. What was it out of stars again?
That was a 5-star.
That was 5 out of stars. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah C. I can only assume it's Sarah Chalk from Scrubs and Roseanne fame.
Okay.
Writes, it was boring, and honestly, Edward and Bella's chemistry sucked. It was so awkward. If you want to watch something that's better, watch Vampire Diaries. Edward is the Walmart version of Stefan. 2 out of stars.
Amanda is ready to go off.
I will. Vampire Diaries is trash. I think actually.
Shit. But you're more
according
like
to Sarah Chalk.
Are you more like a Vampire Academy stan? No, that movie's brutal.
Yeah, it is brutal too. Yeah, but they're all based on books. Fun
Hey,
fact.
Zoe
Every
Dutch is
single
in
one
it,
of
and
these
she's wonderful.
She is wonderful. So mine is another 5-star review from Alu O.
A the J.
Talented.
Who's this?
Yeah. Oh no, Alu.
Okay.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever done before. Yeah.
That was one of those fraud accounts you were talking about before, right, Brendan?
Yep.
No, that's the best part, is that they wouldn't have ever needed to pay anyone to say nice things about these movies. They don't need that. They have the power of the soccer moms and the teenage girls.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie about that.
guys, I wonder what you think about Jeremy J's critique here. Because Jeremy J gives it 5 out of stars. He says, I couldn't imagine Taylor Lautner as any other character other than Shark Boy, but I got told it was a good movie, so 5 stars.
He's like barely in this movie.
He got told it was a good movie.
So
5
stars.
stars. Are we
well,
questioning the integrity of the audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes? Because I think we do. I think this is
how dare
Exhibit
you.
A.
my next one comes from Robert P. So I can only assume it's Robert Pattinson.
Oh my god.
Because he writes a bunch of romantic ruins another vampire movie. Half out of stars.
Watch me in
Damn,
that movie.
bitter.
Watch me in that movie where I died in 9/11.
The end.
Spoiler alert.
My last one. Spoiler alert.
For Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1.
So I have a half-star review here from Lillian L.
All right.
I'm sorry, but I absolutely hate you if you like this franchise.
Wow.
So Lillian hates me. Lillian's coming for my fucking throat.
Lillian Lemon. She's the co-owner of Lululemon. She's coming after you.
I will scam people, but I draw the line at sparkly vampires.
Yep. All right. I've got one more here. This is from Jasmine C. And she says, normally I wouldn't use this website as a lot of people on here tend to be, how do I put this? Wrong. However, my friend told me to post this on here, so enjoy my opinions covered by squiggly dashes. I think overall it is a good movie if you are specifically into that thing, but if you're not, then it's just quite boring as the characters are uninteresting. Bella is nice and cares about her family, but that's about it. Edward is just sort of intense and always being super emo about shit, and all the other characters have one facial expression each throughout this movie. The start was good, as I liked that one of the people in the class made an attempt to drink some compost after being told not to by the teacher. That's kind of wild. But then after that, that really stuck out for her. But then after that, when Bella is like in danger of being killed or whatever, it's quite boring because I couldn't really care less if she died. Although some of the scenes, like when she is in the ballet place, have good tension. Also, the weird vampire CGI where they get flung across the room and climb up trees and stuff just looks so stupid. So yeah, terrible movie, but very arousing. 4.5 stars.
That took a turn at the end.
It's a Shyamalamian twist.
Holy jeez.
Jesus.
She's like, this sucked, but guess what? Horny. Almost a perfect score. Cold and wet.
So my last one comes from Chris B. I can only assume it's Chris Benoit. And he writes, it's not the best movie, but I do think it deserves all the hate it gets. It was still entertaining to watch, and so were the others. 3.5 out of stars. I think the double T, I think he's missing the N apostrophe, because I think he means to say, I don't think it deserves all the hate it gets. But his review comes across as, I do think that it deserves all the hate it gets.
And I'm giving it 3.5.
3.5 out of stars.
So this is just a real simple one. 3 out of 5 stars from Just D. This is the most watchable one.
Well, thank you, Just Dick. That was a very informative review. There you go. That's what people are saying. I think those are some of the craziest reviews we've read so far from the audience.
Sam Elliott really liked that movie, didn't he?
He really did. And I knew Twilight would bring out like the crazies on both sides of the critical spectrum here.
Oh, yeah.
But let's talk about things that we like, or I guess maybe like more, because Amanda clearly does like this movie. But we, at this point of the show, we recommend something that we've seen recently, a movie or a show or what have you. So, Nathan, just want to ask, what you watching, bud?
Well, I've kind of moved off a bit of the horror flicks this week, and I decided to take advantage of my ability for the Disney afternoon with the Disney Plus. So I've actually been watching, a fair bit of Gargoyles, revisiting that. Now, I mean, some of the folks who listen to it may have been around when that show was the thing. If not, do yourself a favor, check it out. It's actually one of the, more grittier Disney afternoon cartoons. Jonathan Frakes swears a little bit in the first episode. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it drops a bunch of F-bombs in the pilot for Gargoyles.
I don't know. When he says he would, if you pay a man enough, he'll walk barefoot through hell. You know what? You hear that in a movie, whatever. You see that on a Disney cartoon in the afternoon, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Plus later they start, introducing Shakespeare lore and whatnot. It's pretty great.
I thought you were gonna say, and then later it's just they just full on have sex for like 10 minutes.
Just bone. No, gargoyles lay eggs. They have a rook and a rookery. Yeah.
All right, well, Gargoyles. There we go. Amanda, what about you? What you watching, bud?
I'm gonna give I don't know, it'll probably be out by the time this podcast goes live, but Last Night in Soho, the new Edgar Wright movie. Definitely a different speed from most of what you'd expect from him, but it was really interesting to see his take on kind of like a horror thriller. And I really like the idea of what he was going for with the story. So definitely recommend that.
I want to see that real bad.
Mm-hmm. I've heard things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I am going to recommend also a brand new movie. I don't think I really have to recommend it too hard because I know a lot of people really love it, but I went and saw Dune. Yeah, and it was fucking great. I've never seen the David Lynch version. I've heard from everyone that has seen it that it's pretty terrible. But this is like...
it's prime this podcast. You should do it for the podcast.
I know.
Yeah.
Sting in a Speedo. So.
There's no Speedos in this, unfortunately. Not that I remember. But it is very good. Denis Villeneuve I don't believe has made one bad movie yet. It's epic on every level. It's part 1. Part 2 just recently announced. Woo! And it's great. And I will say, for those of you that are worried, for those of you that are not big fans of the book, I didn't read the book at all. I have no knowledge going in. And for those of you that are worried about that, I say, do not worry. This movie is accessible for everyone. They don't dumb it down, but they make it totally easy to follow, I think. For a movie on this scale. It's like I imagine if you're watching the first Star Wars movie, as they do such a good job in that movie of making everything kind of crazy but also easy to follow along. It reminded me of that in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Check out Dune, and if it's safe and you can check it out in the theater, I would obviously recommend you do that. But if you have to watch it on HBO Max or whatever, then do that too. Dune. Yeah, so there you go. That's the recommendations. Deleted from Excel. Next segment. Nathan, you have a buddy, Montrose Monkington. Amanda, a monkey, is about to enter the studio. You're very excited.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready.
I think she's been through here with him before.
I have that.
No, I have.
I have that thing where I don't remember stuff. What's that called? I don't remember what it's called. Montrose Monkington is here, correct?
Yes. Hello! It's a good friend Montrose Monkington III here, and I just would like to invite all of you delightful listeners over to my YouTube channel, Montrose Monkington TV. You can also be friends with me on Facebook, the Facebook group Montrose Monkington III Esquire and Friends. And if you'd like to tweet at me, you can get at me on your little Twitter devices at Montrose III. That's the number 3RD. Thank you! More later!
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amanda, thank you. Thank you for forgiving me for making you talk about cats, and it took a while, but forgiveness is had finally.
You got me back.
I got you back. I got you. I lured you back in with Twilight is what it was.
You did.
Yeah.
You really did.
But
I'll turn up for it.
You have lots of stuff on the go, so why don't you tell people where they can find you and what you've got? What you got on your dinner plate right now?
Yeah, biggest place you can find me and where I expend most of my effort is YouTube, where you can find me at Amanda the Jedi. I used to stream a lot. I just did a move, so I haven't been doing that as much, but you can follow me on Twitch at Amanda the Jedi. If you want to keep up with my stupid thoughts, you can follow me on Twitter at Amanda the Jedi. And if you want to see stupid pictures, you can follow me on Instagram at Amanda the Jedi. Right now, I am actually working through on my YouTube channel a bunch of like current releases, but I'm also going through a bunch of those teen movies that were really big. So like I'm doing the Mortal Instruments series. I'm going to do Divergent next. So like we're going through it. So if you were a fan of that kind of stuff, or if you hated that kind of stuff, like come along for the ride.
There you go. And Nathan, I don't know if you know this, but Amanda did a nice little video on a movie we talked about, Old Kickboxing Academy.
Oh my god. See, that is a garbage movie. That is a garbage movie. I would hope that if you put that movie up against Twilight, you would have to at least give Twilight a little bit of a nod, like a little bit of like a.
Well, one of them is barely a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know what the hell is happening.
One has implied incest, the other has actual
incest
with a horrifying dark backstory behind it.
Allegedly, I've started looking into it more, and it might have literally just been like, "Now we want to hire your brother," and she was just like, "Okay."
I hope the dark backstory is not true.
Hope.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as intense as someone made me believe. So.
Well, there you go. There you go. And of course, you can find us on all the podcast apps. You're listening to one of them right now, or you can go to Age of Radio.
Big time.
ageofradio.org/what were they thinking. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at WWTT Podcast. Search for us on Facebook, Patreon. We're on Redbubble and TeePublic as well. Just search for us and we will be there. But that's pretty much it. Nathan, I mean, maybe you should direct your questions to Amanda because she's the Twilight expert. She's the Twihard here. But
she is.
Do you have any questions about this movie?
Well, a couple, okay? All right, so, so with a movie about vampires, where they remove a lot of the pre-established vampire lore, for the sake of a terrible skin effect, that looked like someone... Well, let's be honest, it looked like Buffalo Bill went crazy with a bedazzler. And with a movie where I think it's fairly safe to say that Valium was just gobbled up like Tic Tacs on the set. And with a movie where, they take such a clearly unhealthy look at relationships, especially from the female point of view, I simply have to ask about this movie. What were they thinking?